Welcome to Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. We're reaching you live from Abuja. I am Ronke Kolawole. Barely 36 hours after his inauguration for his second term in office, President Muhammadu Buhari has returned to the Grand Kaaba in the holy city Mecca. His mission is not only to intercede for Nigeria, but also seek divine guidance in the execution of his mandate for a secured, peaceful, united, and prosperous Nigeria. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Although President Muhammadu Buhari is in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for the summit of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, with the holy city of Mecca as the venue and the Grand Kaaba just nearby, maximum benefits of the visit must be derived for both personal and greater national interest. President Buhari is here to once again perform the Lesser Hajj, an act of great significance for the sake of Allah and therefore highly pleasing to him. Consequently, sins are not only forgiven here, but all prayer requests are considered granted. For the Nigerian leader, still basking in the euphoria of his inauguration for another term of office, it is one opportunity that cannot be misused. Therefore, apart from Tawaf or circumambulation of Kaaba, the president, accompanied by, amongst others, the governors of Jigawa, Niger and Osun states, also performed Sa'i between the mountains of Safa and Marwa. He walked and indeed ran where necessary in compliance with the Islamic injunctions, during which intermittent prayers were offered to Allah for the nation and its present leadership.
Throughout the Lesser Hajj, President was busy praying for Nigeria bit by bit from each stage to another for Almighty Allah's intervention to intervene in our country and make it much, much easier for him to take the country to the next level.
So how significant is the President's prayer for Nigeria?
It's very important because of the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given him that responsibility. Because of that responsibility, when he prays, there is high probability that his prayer will be accepted. And among the prayers that are accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the prayer of a righteous and just leader.
This is the second time in less than 3 weeks President Muhammadu Buhari is performing the Lesser Hajj, but not the three governors on his entourage. So what have been their prayers to Allah at this point in time?
This prayer for peace for the entire country and prosperity. We are aware of the economic challenges, and we pray very hard for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to help the country, bring in peace, bring prosperity, and eradicate poverty in the land.
I prayed for our President Muhammadu Buhari, for Allah to give him the strength to rule Nigeria properly in the right direction. I prayed for Nigeria as a whole, for peace, in view of the present security challenges facing us. And inshallah, we're very hopeful that Allah will answer our prayers. We'll continue to pray hard to have a peaceful environment, because without peace and security, virtually all other sectors of development will not function.
I congratulate Mr. President for taking it as a matter of duty to come and say Alhamdulillah to God after this swearing. My prayer is that by the grace of Almighty God, our president will do better than what he did in the first term. Challenges are there in the country, particularly in the area of security, but Allah will see us through. We want peace in Nigeria, we want prosperity in Nigeria, and I believe with this, the start of this tenure, with God be on our side, the president will do very well.
The Lesser Hajj is the first major undertaking by President Muhammadu Buhari on the margins of the OIC summit in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. From Makkah, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And now to graft issues. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arraigned 3 officials of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board (JAMB) from Benue and Plateau states before the Federal Capital Territory High Court sitting in Maitama for alleged criminal breach of trust and corruption. Among the 3 is Philomena Cheze, who alleged that a snake swallowed the psalm of 33 million naira in Makurdi, Benue State office. The two officers from Benue State are standing trial on 8-count charge, while the other officer from Plateau State is standing trial on 4-count charge for their refusal to inform relevant authorities of the financial status of JAMB e-card sales supplied to both states between 2014 and 2016. The three officials pleaded not guilty to all the counts. Consequently, the prosecution counsel applied for a trial date that they should be remanded in prison custody. This was objected to by the defendant's counsel and informed the court that they had already submitted bail applications. The presiding judge, Justice Peter Afen, remanded the defendants in EFCC's custody pending the outcome of their motion on bail is heard and determined on the 3rd of June. Straight to the National Assembly, where the House of Representatives today held its last day of legislative business for the 8th Assembly in what could be described as a marathon legislative sitting. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
Honourable colleagues, this will mark the last sitting of the 8th Assembly.
As the countdown to the end of the 8th Assembly continues, the lawmakers at Tuesday's plenary engaged themselves with clearance of items before the House. Plenary featured laying, consideration and adoption of reports, with many bills passed as well, as more than 60 items were contained in the day's order paper. Among key reports considered and adopted are bills from the House Committee on National Security and Intelligence, which deal with fight against terrorism, and those from House Committee on Defense, which made provisions for Armed Forces Reserve. The reports from House Committee on Gas Resources, which investigated alleged plans to sell Nigerian liquefied natural gas, said the allegation be disregarded.
We invited all the parties. NNPC denied, representing the federal government. Sheriff denied.
The issue of withdrawal of license from registered gun owners in Nigeria by the federal government, brought up under matters of urgent public importance, took up the most of the day's plenary.
This executive order targets only legal guns, and there doesn't seem to be any actionable plan that targets the guns in the hands of criminals.
A plea from Representative Azubogu for authorities to do something about erosion in Anambra State also got the support of members.
With the industrial to commercial hub of Anambra State and Nigeria is under serious ecological threat, occasioned by heavy gully erosion, which has cut off the major entrance to the market.
The Speaker announced adjournment of the House for the Eid al-Fitr celebration to resume on 6 June for the valedictory session. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
From the National Assembly to Lagos, where Jennifer is standing by with more reports nationwide. Hello, Jennifer.
Thank you, Ronke, and welcome to the Center of Excellence. Now, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has visited Apapa, where he outlined measures to tackle gridlock in the area. Nosa Osula reports that the governor also assured residents that a terminal that could take 1,000 trucks would be completed next month.
The duo on arrival visited the Ministry of the Environment attached to the Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development and Lands Bureau. Governor Sanwo-Olu charged civil servants to rededicate themselves to service and have absolute commitment to the development agenda of the government. According to him, civil servants play fundamental roles in the success of every administration and should be encouraged.
We'll be starting with the very key. Right? We will try and begin to look for ways to solve the traffic issues in Lagos State. But more importantly is also to look for solutions around transportation of Lagos State.
Governor Sanwo-Olu assured the workers that issues around the minimum wage would be sorted out in earnest.
To whom much is given, much will also be expected. I will also be asking for your dedication to work. You are in the public service.
The governor and his deputy thereafter toured the secretariat. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Now, the Nigerian Navy has brought to reality the dream of over 180 persons who have never been on board a ship. Dr. Oguyemi, who was also on the sea trip, reports that it is one of the activities marking the 63rd anniversary of the Nigerian Navy.
For these visitors, the experience cannot have been imagined. After the registration and medical protocol, the guests embarked upon NNS Unity. The first spectacle was this helicopter doing a low flyby with the Nigerian flag. They were later given a brief safety talk, but the anxiety was for the trip to begin, and soon they got their desire. It was a situation of mixed feelings, seasickness, dizziness, but for those who fought the odds, it was a worthwhile feeling.
Sailing from the beginning, and I was so excited. I saw the sea changing colors, and the officers are very, very warm.
I'm having fun, and I'm impressed with the Nigerian Navy, to be honest with you, because what I'm seeing, I commend them.
Fleet Commander, Western Naval Command, Commodore Jayola, who interacted with the visitors, is optimistic that the efforts of the Navy in keeping the nation's territorial waters safe will further be appreciated.
Civilians on board to share with us. I'm sure that with the throwing up I've witnessed, it's to show that, well, when you join the Navy, you feel the way we feel, but notwithstanding, when you get your sea legs, you do the job.
We've met good friends today, people maybe I never met before, and I'm sure some such relationship will keep, and it will help to further cement the civil-military relations we are all trying to build.
Guests went home with souvenirs and a most memorable experience. In Lagos, Dotun Okuyemi, NTA News.
The steel industry serves as a stimulus to economic growth. But Nigeria is yet to fully maximize the potential in iron and steel for technological advancement. Leading the campaign to pay more attention to steel is the Institution of Metallurgical, Mining and Mineral Engineers. Chidema Okwonu reports.
Since the Second World War, nations of the world have come to appreciate the unique role of steel as the base for technological progress. And moving to the next level in industrialization, Nigeria needs to do more. It is in a bid to build strategic partnership with Africa's largest network to amplify the voice of professionals in the field of material engineering that members of the Institution of Metallurgical, Mining and Minerals Engineers came calling on the management of the Lagos Network Center.
To draw the attention of those that manage our national activities to the fact that if that aspect is sidelined or glossed over, we will be going in a merry-go-round. And so they need to focus on it and get off with it.
Zonal Director, Lagos Network Center, Lawal Ahmed, said NTA is willing to collaborate with any group to enhance the socio-economic development of Nigeria.
We actually align, cooperate and work together with organizations that have your kind of aspiration. Organizations that are looking at this country and driving, the vehicle that will lead to its development. We try as much as possible to give you all the kinds of support you need, because the country is ours. If it develops, it is us. If it collapses, it is still us.
The Institution of Metallurgical, Mining and Minerals Engineers was created in 1988 and is set to hold a 3-day conference in Lagos between the 26th and 28th of June 2019. In Lagos, Chidema Okwonu, NTA News.
That's a contribution from Lagos. Back to Ronke in Abuja for more on Nationwide.
Thank you, Jennifer. This is Nationwide. We now go on a brief commercial break.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
NTA Television College Jos announces admissions into 2-year diploma programs in film and television production, television engineering, and broadcast journalism. The sale of forms will commence on the 13th of May and run through 30th July 2019. Admission forms can be obtained from all marketing offices, NTA state capital stations, zonal centers, or at the office of the academic secretary, NTA Television College, Rayfield, Jos.
On payment of a non-refundable fee of 7,500 naira in bank draft in favor of NTA TV College. Applicants can also obtain the forms through the NTA TV College portal at www.ntatvc.edu.nj.
Applicants are required to possess 5 credits in GCE or SSCE in relevant areas of study in not more than 2 sittings, including English and mathematics. All properly completed forms attached with photocopies of credentials must be submitted on or before 30th July 2019. For further inquiries, please visit our website at ntatvc.com or call 0803 3144 383.
NTA TV College, training you to be the best you want to be.
Registrar, Announcer.
One football confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hot Sports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Nigeria's premier sports production and marketing group, Hot Sports, partners with the biggest, the largest, and the #1 television network in Africa, the NTA, to give Nigerians a memorable viewing experience. Boost fan support for the Super Eagles to glory in Egypt. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803 331 0175 and Felix on 0803 308 2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Glad you're still staying with us on Nationwide. The challenge of small arms and illegal weapons is giving countries in the West African region cause for concern. This is why efforts are being intensified to check the flow of these weapons in the region. Donyi Dia reports on the latest attempt to deal with the issue.
Millions of small arms and light weapons traded by unlicensed persons are said to infiltrate into Nigeria, mostly from neighboring countries. Such weapons find their ways into wrong hands, resulting in violent crimes like robbery, kidnapping, gangsterism, banditry, and terrorism, as well as fueling communal conflicts, threatening the peace and stability of the country. The West African Action Network on Small Arms and Light Weapons, a coalition of civil society organizations, is one of the NGOs campaigning to stop the trend. It has got a ready partner in the National Institute of Peace and Conflict Resolution and working towards the formulation and domestication of gun law.
Because we're all affected one way or the other, we're all casualties. Because if you cannot carry out your business, the women cannot go to the farms anymore, the men cannot go to farms because they are afraid. This is worrisome.
essentially our job is not just resolving conflicts, but is to prevent conflicts and thereby making sure that security is maintained through development. So when we work together, we'll be able to have impacts.
With the law and synergy between state actors, NGOs, CBOs and local communities, Nigeria and indeed West Africa can control illegal weapons and reduce gun violence to the barest minimum. In Abuja, doing Dia NT News.
Zulay has the next set of reports from Kaduna. Hello, Zulay. It's over to you.
Good evening and welcome to Kaduna. The Nigerian Air Force will establish additional regiment training centers in some parts of the country with a view to improving its operational capability towards national security and maintenance of Air Force assets. Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar, said this at the graduation of Special Forces in Kaduna. Suleiman Abdullahi Rugachkum reports.
A practical demonstration of substantial capacity by the Special Forces trained in the Special Instructors Course 2, 2019 by the Nigerian Air Force. "51 graduates out of 57 students initially enrolled in the course were trained in technical and tactical shooting drills, endurance, dread drill, break and entry, vehicle drill, and assault drill." Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sadiq Baba Abubakar was emphatic on the readiness of the Nigerian Air Force towards reinforcing the culture of self-reliance and prudent management of resources. Hence, his resolve to develop additional regiment training centers for training and retraining purposes.
It's a work still in progress. With this training, we hope to establish additional RTC annex in Ipetu Ijesha in Osun State, Bauchi in Bauchi State, and hopefully by beginning of next year in Owerri in Imo State. To have developed this level of capacity building will certainly have serious impact on what we are doing in other places.
Graduates with outstanding performances during the 3 months training were honored with awards of excellence. In Kaduna, I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachkun, NTA News.
Still on security, the Nigerian Army is exploring new avenues of improving existing methods of securing classified security information in tune with global best practices. Again, Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachkum reports.
Information management is an integral part of the operations in the Nigerian Army. Hence, the convergence of 160 officers from Army formations and sister security agencies on Kaduna for a 3-day office management and document security workshop. The aim is to improve their proficiency in ensuring the sanctity of document and information security. In his message, Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukurisu Buratai, enjoined the trainees and other personnel of the Nigerian Army to avoid acts capable of undermining national security.
The social media has brought additional challenges to information security which are being used by misguided personnel contrary to our service rules. The Nigerian Army has extant policy on the use of social media, which prohibits, among others, the use of social media to discuss or disclose service matters.
Security of information and document is one of the cardinal requirements for operation security, effective operations, and effective administration in the Army.
The Office Management and Security Information Workshop is an annual event in Kaduna. I am Suleiman Abdullahi Rigachkum, NTA News.
And that's it from here. We're back to Ronke in Abuja for more on Nationwide. Good evening.
Thank you, Zulay in Kaduna. The Cross River State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has commenced hearing on petitions brought before it on matters arising from the last general elections. The tribunal, which has 180 days to consider and determine the cases before it, is charged with the jurisdiction of ensuring that justice is served and the will of the people prevails.
It is factual that elections in the country are usually characterized with acrimony and rancor. As such, election petition tribunals have become a platform where aggrieved candidates and parties could iron out their differences and seek justice when the need arises. For the Elections Petition Tribunal, inaugurated to tackle grievances arising from the conduct of the governorship, national and House of Assembly elections in Cross River State, the onus is on it to exhibit equity and fairness when adjudicating on petitions before it.
In my speech, I have told the lawyers who are going to appear before this tribunal to, as much as possible, conduct themselves with the greatest sense of responsibility, professionalism, and candor. This is necessary because we never can know. The important thing is that the will of the people should not be drafted.
After the inauguration, the three-man panel chaired by Justice Josiah Majebi swung into action as it commenced hearing on the petition filed by APC governorship candidate Senator John Owaneno against the Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade and the Independent National Electoral Commission. In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has presented certificates of return to 24 members of the Zamfara State House of Assembly elect. The presentation was held at the State INEC headquarters, Gusau. Hamid's chairs. Jamilu Ibrahim has more.
The presentation of certificates of return to members of the Zamfara State House of Assembly elect followed their declaration as winners of the 2019 elections, occasioned by the recent Supreme Court judgment to that effect. The State Resident Electoral Commissioner, represented by INEC Administrative Secretary, performed the presentation ceremony amid cheers.
I implore the members of the State House of Assembly elect to use their good offices to carry out people-oriented legislation that will enhance the provision of dividends of democracy to the good people of the State.
The Assembly members elect, who were the runners-up at the election, are to represent 24 constituencies across the 40 local government areas of the state at the 9th Assembly. Member representing Shinkafi constituency, Muhammad Ahmad, who spoke on behalf of his colleagues, assured people in their respective constituencies of purposeful representation in harmonious working relationship with the executive arm of government. Zamfara State Deputy Governor, some party leaders and supporters who graced the event speak with NTA News.
And as legislators want to give them free hands when we pass bills, when we send bills to them, let them go through it and approve it based on their own recommendation and what they think is best for the people of Zamfara State.
We believe this is a very good thing to develop a good working relationship with His Excellency. We have total majority. It will be well, inshallah.
23 of the State Assembly members elect presented with the certificates of return are of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, while the remaining one contested the election on the platform of the National Rescue Movement, NRM, and 20 of them are first-timers. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Meanwhile, 20 years of Nigeria's democracy has been described as work in progress, with issues of corruption and nepotism constituting drawbacks over the years. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria today say, to advance Nigeria's democracy, institutions need to be strengthened. Daniel Adiriye has more.
As guests on Good Morning Nigeria dwelt in retrospect on 2 decades of uninterrupted democracy in Nigeria, freedom of expression and infrastructural growth were identified as major democratic dividends. There was, however, advocacy to eliminate bureaucracies that bog down the democratic process.
The architecture and the infrastructure of our security needs to be reformed. Intelligence gathering needs to be enhanced. Training needs to be enhanced so that our police can detect, can prevent, can investigate, and can prosecute crime.
We have consistently seen the breach of judicial protocol. And because of these breaches, constant breach of protocol, nothing can be done right that is done in breach of protocol. You cannot. It is one of the characters of our democratic experience.
It was canvassed that the legislature must go beyond passage of bills to overseeing their execution.
Do we need a bicameral legislature, even though we know that their role is central? Do we need it in a situation where we have so much laws and in a situation where the problem is not about the laws that we have, but about the implementation? I think we can do better in our democratic experiment, really, if we focus more on implementation.
When we talk about rule of law, we have also to put a caveat. You have to look at countries where there's a routinization of observance of law. Unless the observance of law has become routinized, you cannot say they are institutionalized.
All arms of government were advised to work collaboratively to fast-track the development of democracy in Nigeria. In Abuja, Daniel Aderiye, NTA News.
Let's go to Nasarawa State, where the new administration is pledging commitment to seeking beneficial and enduring partnership with the private sectors towards addressing critical development challenges. Governor Abdullahi Alhaji Sule said this during an interaction with the staff and students of Lafia Comprehensive School for Persons Living with Disability. Joshua Ojito reports.
In inaugural address, the governor promises to immediately move into action, and the choice of special school is in view of its importance to the welfare of persons living with disability in the state. While pledging to sustain the legacies of his predecessor, Governor Abdullahi Sule says additional facilities to enhance learning of the students will be provided. The governor says government is open towards engaging private sector to develop the state.
For you to be managing this school the way you are going, you also must have relationship with some organizations outside this country that also give support to schools like this. I want to tell you that I will work with you to ensure that we seek for those kind of support, and will continue to support internally also to make sure that we equip the school properly.
With the support of His Excellency and his team, I'm very sure that we will arrive somewhere where we can say, okay, we have reached 70 to 75% of what happens abroad.
He promises to carry people along for sustainable development of the state. In Lafia, Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And in Ondo State, fortune has smiled on more than 80 youth in Ondo Central Senatorial districts as they have been empowered to be self-reliant. Olajide Bello reports that this was a joint initiative of Senator Donald Alasho Adura, representing Ondo Central, and former Minister of State Niger Delta Affairs, Professor Claudius Daramola in Akure, the state capital.
45-year-old Ismail Muftau has been a technician for the past 20 years. Isiaka Lukman, a 2009 graduate of Adekunle Ajasin University, has equally been hustling to make ends meet due to insufficient employment opportunities. These individuals never expected what came their way, as they were not only given fish but taught how to catch and provided with the necessary tools.
If we have people doing this thing like this, the poverty level will reduce drastically.
I'm very happy about it, and this tricycle now will be able to help me out of my life so that I'll be able to be feeding my family.
No, I'm very happy now. We use it judiciously.
A total of 50 tricycles and 35 motorcycles were distributed to youth in Ondo Central Senatorial District. What motivated the initiative?
Once you are from my senatorial district, I'm representing all of you, and you should be able to participate in any program that I have.
The Niger Delta region as a whole, it has what we call endemic poverty. And we discover that one of the right ways of eradicating poverty is to empower the youths.
Just like the saying that little drops of water make a mighty ocean, Ismail and Isiaka are of the view that if other key players can also key into the federal government's empowerment drive, it will not only reduce unemployment but curb other societal ills in Akure. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
And here in the Federal Capital Territory, literary writers have been urged to use their creative as a tool to provide solutions to socio-economic problems. This was the thrust of a lecture delivered by Professor Gwembe Vicky Sylvester at the 36th inaugural lecture put together by the University of Abuja. Elizabeth Omoruyi reports that the title of the lecture is The Politics of Literature.
Globally, insecurity, corruption, kidnapping, and many other negative factors hamper the economic prosperity of any nation. Hence the need for prolific writers to use their creativity to prefer lifelong solutions. This inaugural lecture was an eye-opener for writers, students, and the general public on how to constructively come up with means of addressing issues, negating growth of the nation without hitting up the polity. Professor Gwembe Vicky Sylvester, while highlighting the role of literature in promoting language, culture, and politics, explained that literary works such as Half of a Yellow Sun, A Long Walk to Freedom, Tenants of the House, and Things Fall Apart have been able to document history through thought-provoking lines and plots which have helped shape ideologies.
A lot of people have no money to publish good books, and they print and keep in the room. So government should encourage through the right publishing houses.
Writers were also urged to be objective.
We expect them to write more on the beneficial side of things and not just chronicle the bad sides of war and problems in the country. They can use literature also to highlight the good parts of the country and the good things that happen in the country. In that way, they can help to reduce the problems in the country.
Literature is a mirror on our society, so we take the lessons from there and apply it to our daily lives.
The academics recommended that Pidgin English be made one of the national languages, and the government should promote cultural festivals for posterity. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
I can see Kemi waiting on the wings inside the Ibadan studios with more reports. Hello, Kemi. It's over.
And a warm welcome to Ibadan. The Oyo State government has prohibited the activities of National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, in the state. Correspondent Miku Ajibola reports that Governor Seyi Makinde made this declaration through his chief of staff, following attempts at forceful takeover of motor parks in the state.
The proscription following the report of threat to public peace in the state as two groups within the union have been immersed in leadership tussle, which has reportedly resulted in pockets of violence in some parts of the state, while appreciating the good people of the state for their steadfastness over time and support given to the new administration. The governor said there is need to maintain peace and tranquility in the state in order to engender economic and human development.
In a meeting involving security chiefs and the government, we have resolved to proscribe the National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, until further notice. All activities of the union remain illegal henceforth, and we urge the people of the state to go about their lawful duties without fear of molestation, as the combined security task force in every part of the state has been charged to take control and maintain peace and order.
The governor has therefore directed that all motor parks in the state be taken over by the state government with immediate effect. In Ibadan, Ayomiku Ajibola, NTA News.
Ogun State Governor Prince Dapo Abiodun has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to rural road network, public-private partnership in investment and economic growth, infrastructural development, as well as development and revamping of the education sector within the next 4 years. The governor stated these while addressing journalists at the end of series of meetings with top government officials across ministries and the security among other critical stakeholders in public service of Ogun State. The meeting held behind closed doors afforded the governor the opportunity to have first-hand information on government businesses.
So this administration will be focused on pulling people to Ogun State to come and live and work here. How do we achieve that? We must have a state that is relatively safe and very secure. We must have a state that has electricity, a state that has good infrastructure, in terms of road infrastructure. One of the major disconnects between the government and the people was a poor road of rural and township road infrastructure. And this administration will be placing a lot of premium on maintaining and repairing rural and township roads. And we are going to look at every other program of this government through the prism of rural and township roads. We are going to focus on primary school education and tertiary school education. We have to bring it up to scratch. Yes, we have the largest number of schools in this state. However, the performances of our students are on the decline. We have to change that. So we may be declaring a state of emergency in the education sector.
Prince Dapo Abiodun reaffirmed his administration's determination to ensure people-oriented governance through adequate policies in key sectors of a state. Moving on, experts have emphasized the need to invest in the rail transport sector through public-private partnership. The key players gathered in Ibadan at a discourse on rail transport. Shola Wahid is our guide.
Rail transport in Nigeria is described as a safe means of moving passengers and goods from one location to another. The rail sector has in recent times recorded improvement in service delivery, contributing significantly to the process of economic growth due to federal government's massive investment in the sector.
The reform blueprint is good. What we need to do is implement that reform and work towards achieving the targets that are set in the reform.
When you have the rails, every other mode will have to coordinate with the rails. Where the rail stops, that's where others take off. And you will see that the economy will start to grow.
The government says in the economic recovery and growth plan that it will focus on, developing transport infrastructure. And one of those critical ones to the growth of the Nigerian economy is the rail sector.
Participants described the seminar as timely and urged federal government to intensify efforts towards speedy completion of railway projects across the country. In Ibadan, Shola Wahid, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Ibadan. Nationwide continues in Maiduguri, where Mohammed is our guide.
All right, Kemi, back in Abuja now. The Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Shuaibu Ibrahim, says the entrepreneurial training scheme will be better funded to make greater number of Nigerian youth self-reliant. He gave the assurance while on an official visit to the NYSC zonal office in Akure, Ondo State.
The Director General of the NYSC on his maiden visit to Akure explains the reason for robust funding to be committed to the core entrepreneurial training scheme. While commending President Muhammadu Buhari for his unflinching support to the core in terms of welfare and logistics, Brigadier General Ibrahim says the NYSC will continue to uphold good values and discipline as well as high sense of responsibility.
I want to fund it adequately because the President is worried. We also on our part are also worried that on completion of service here, you have no job. But I can assure you this entrepreneurship training, if you take it very, very seriously, because we have also collaborators who are able to provide, training facilities to you, so that at the end of the day, you'll be employed and you also become an employer of labor.
The visit equally availed the state coordinator the opportunity to highlight some of the challenges bedeviling the scheme in the state.
With his wealth of knowledge of the scheme, especially with what I saw him doing today, just going around the side center, the scheme is in for a time of blessings.
Brigadier General Shuaibu Ibrahim, who is the 18th Chief Executive of the National Youth Service Corps, took over from Major General Suleiman Kazauri, assuming office on the 10th of May this year. From Akure, Olajide Bello, NTA News.
The saying that most rewards are in heaven may be changing, as we will hear in this report by Momsode Medati, where she tells us how 2 clerics were rewarded for adhering to divine directives of protecting lives and property, irrespective of the faith or race. It's over to you, Momso.
Stayed there for about 5 days, those who ran into the mosque, because they wanted to continue to protect them. They didn't want them exposed. The Muslims had to pray outside the mosque so that those in the mosque can continue to have the protection.
The story of Imam Abdullahi Abubakar, who took great risks to save the lives of hundreds of Christians when gunmen invaded their village in Plateau State, hunting for people from that faith to kill, came to many as surprise due to the long history of sectarian crisis in that state.
It's around 4 o'clock that we started hearing gun shooting from a village called Gindi Akwati, that is excellent. I saw some smoke, which shows that these attackers have entered our village. They started burning houses. So just about 2 minutes or 3 minutes, then we saw people running towards the mosque, but some are passing, just running to go to the bush to escape. Some wanted to go and hide themselves there to escape, but then we started calling them back, telling them, come back, come and enter the mosque, come and enter the mosque. Don't pass, come and enter the mosque. Don't pass, don't leave the mosque, come and enter. So some of them agreed and entered the mosque, but some of them refused. By then, the Imam has already gone out. He is there in his house. So when I went out, I found Imam there lying down on the ground, begging the people not to enter the house. If they will enter, so let them kill him first before they enter his house and kill those that are in the house. We do it according to the teaching of Quran, that people, even those that are not your religion, if they came to you in order to secure them, you have to secure them, because life is life.
Is a lesson not just for Nigeria, but for all mankind. One family, one race, one love. Thank you.
The heroic act of love and sacrifice exhibited by the Imam and his deputy has not gone unnoticed, as they continue to be acknowledged, with letters coming from the United States Embassy in Abuja.
It's the ambassador's first ever Ambassador's Peacemaker Award for heroism. Imam Abdullahi Abubakar, in recognition of your extraordinary bravery, putting your faith into action on June 23rd, 2018. That day, you saved the lives of hundreds of your Christian neighbors in Yar Village, Barkanladi, Plateau State.
NTA News.
As we can see from that report, we'll make the world a better place to live if we can be our brother's keepers. You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. More reports after this time out.
One Football Confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hot Sports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
The Nigerian national flag is a sacred national symbol. It is a mark of patriotism and a show of love for our nation to fly the national flag correctly, in the right colors, right dimension, and in the right sizes for each occasion. In recent times, it has been noticed that government offices, corporate organizations, banks, embassies, and other notable institutions fly faded, shredded, and haggard-looking versions of the national flag. This is wrong and must stop. It has also been noticed that some citizens prefer to popularize the national flag of other nations. fellow countrymen and women, let us be patriotic. Come, let us show love for our motherland. Fly the correct versions of our national flag in all relevant places. Be patriotic. Be proud ambassadors of our great country.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Get the latest news and updates from across Nigeria on NTA Nationwide. NTA Nationwide, weekdays by 4 p.m. Get it first. Get it fresh.
Thanks for being with us. And to some security matters now, a suspected bandit was killed and another captured during an Operation Puff Order by the police in a village in Safana local government area of Katsina State. Abdul Malik Hassan reports on a media briefing where the Commissioner of Police Katsina State Command indicated that the command is recording success against banditry.
Katsina State Commissioner of Police Sanusi Buba said the operation was carried out by Operation Puff Ada, led by the Divisional Police Officer, Basari local government area. The squad, based on a tip-off, raided one of the bandits' camp in Safana local government area, where one suspected bandit was killed and another injured, while others flee into the forest after a gun duel.
This military rifle, as you can see, was recovered from the hoodlums, and these motorcycles were abandoned by some of them that eventually escaped from the onslaught. These are some of their foodstuffs at the camp.
Commissioner of Police Sanusi Buba further notes that if found guilty, the bandits will be prosecuted in accordance with the law. He urged the general public to provide the police with relevant information that will lead to the arrest of these criminals, informants, and accomplices. It will be recalled that Katsina State government has recently signed the Amendment Penal Code law, which stipulates death sentences for kidnappers and cattle rustlers. In Katsina, Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
Football enthusiasts task Flying Eagles to go beyond second round of FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Poland. Kene Magbudike has details on Sports Update.
Football enthusiasts have tasked Flying Eagles of Nigeria on focus as they go into the round of 16 of FIFA Under-20 World Cup in Poland. The Paul Ayabogo coached team progressed as one of three best losers after a 1-1 draw against Ukraine on Thursday.
Not really approached games the way we like. They've not hit the ground running, and I think the coach needs to go back to the drawing board to ensure that the team plays well in their subsequent encounter.
Meanwhile, a football season that has been characterized by sensational comebacks, goals and drama is set to come down to an all-English battle as Tottenham face Liverpool in the final of UEFA Champions League in Madrid on Saturday. This will be the first final in history to feature two sides that have failed to win their league titles for a while. The encounter is the second all-English battle since Manchester United beat Chelsea in 2008 in Moscow. In boxing, Anthony Joshua returns to the ring to defend his WBA, IBF and WBL heavyweight titles against Andy Ruiz Jr. at the Madison Square Garden on Saturday. Since beating Vladimir Klitschko, Joshua has defended against Carlos Takam, Joseph Parker and Alexander Povetskin, unifying the WBA, IBF and WBO heavyweight titles along the way to become one of boxing's biggest stars. Saturday's bout will be live on the NTA Sports 24, Channel 270 on StarTimes Decoder via Kwese Free Sports. With Sports Update, Kenan Ima Abudike, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has received with deep sadness notification on the passing away of the President of Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasan, Francis Johnson. A statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President of Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, said that the President joins Pengasan and all labor unions in the country in mourning the visionary leader whose good nature, understanding, and forthrightness helped in improving the welfare of workers and contributed immensely to the stability witnessed in the oil sector. The President affirms that Johnson's broad-mindedness and generosity of spirit by always putting the nation first before all pecuniary gains shaped ease of relationship and smooth operations in the oil sector between employers and workers, recognizing his wise and considerate positions in all negotiations. President Buhari prays that the Almighty God will accept the soul of the departed and comfort the family. And now, a quick look at the weather forecast for Saturday. Weather forecast runs off nationwide for the week on the NTA network. Remember to join us at 7 for NTA International News and the Network News at 9. I am Runke Kolawole, wishing you the best of the weekend.
Information is power.